is immunity in community.
That's actor Kirk Cameron leading a crowd of 100 anti-maskers singing Christmas carols by candlelight. With Southern California hospitals overwhelmed with COVID-19 cases, the potential super spreader event is triggering outrage today.
You guys are putting everybody at risk. You're putting thousands of people at risk.
An angry passerby was shepherded away by a group of carolers.
300,000 people are dead!
The protest against mandatory stay-at-home orders unfolded in a mall near Los Angeles. And get this, just yards from a COVID-19 testing center. The 50-year-old actor, best known for his role in Growing Pains, describes himself as an evangelist. The no-mask protest is especially disturbing for frontline nurses and doctors, stretched to the limit by the pandemic. California is about to top 2 million cases and 23,000 deaths.
Hey, Tim Frisch with A Frisch Perspective here. Actor Kirk Cameron has been making some waves recently because of Christmas caroling events that he has been holding in the Los Angeles area, and it has been said that they are largely maskless events, and so he is becoming dubbed the unmasked singer. He talks about it here in this article from the Daily News. This is kind of him giving his own view of the situation and how he looks at it. It says Kirk Cameron defends COVID caroling, warns of mask Gestapo. This is from the New York Daily News, December 24th. It says Growing Pains star Kirk Cameron is showing that maskless smile again. The 50-year-old actor went on right-wing media outlet Newsmax Wednesday night to defend Christmas caroling events he's hosted in recent days amid a highly contagious, deadly, raging pandemic. You know, we've all heard of The Masked Singer, and it's quite the rage, he joked, referencing a TV show where viewers try and guess the identity of performers wearing disguises. Ever since we started these Christmas caroling peaceful protests, I've been affectionately dubbed the Unmasked Singer and triggered a whole different kind of rage. According to Cameron, news outlets are painting a grim picture of the COVID-19 scourge, and he's offering an alternative message. We've done this 2 or 3 times, and it's been wonderful. People have come and just thanked us with tears in their eyes, saying, "This gives us hope," Cameron claimed. Conceding he's not a medical expert, Cameron claims he's in touch with doctors from top universities, and they've told him the psychological harm being done by the lockdown is far worse than the COVID virus itself. The virus itself has killed more than 325,000 Americans in 2020, infected nearly 19 million, and remains a grave concern according to medical experts, including the nation's top immunologist, Dr. Anthony Fauci, who said Friday will mark the first time in 30 years he didn't spend Christmas with his family. The 80-year-old doctor also warns it could be a really dark time for us. Cameron argued Wednesday that people who attend the caroling events he holds in Los Angeles should be free to make their own choices, despite the governor's stay-at-home order. "I'm not the mask police," Cameron said. "This is America. We shouldn't be having a mask Gestapo and a distance monitoring going on when people are grown adults. They're not babies." Newsmax's host then brought up the Black Lives Matter protests that took place following the May 25th killing of George Floyd and suggested there was a double standard at play when news outlets cover the substance of those demonstrations but criticized Cameron for his caroling get-togethers at the Oaks Mall. "Maybe if we smashed some windows and looted some stores during these caroling events, maybe the spike in the spread of COVID would have been averted," Cameron said, as one Newsmax host chuckled. So the Daily News here not necessarily giving a very positive view of Cameron, but they are sharing what he had to say. And you can see that Kirk Cameron is getting a little feisty there in how he's viewing the situation and defending himself. It's very clear, and I've talked about this, that generally what we see in the media is a very negative picture of COVID-19, and they're trying always to make sure that the public understands the dangers. But then you have people like Kirk Cameron and many others, I've highlighted Pastor John MacArthur, who are saying that the dangers are actually being overplayed. Now, I know a lot of people who watch my videos would tend to agree with people like Kirk Cameron, and I do think what he says here makes sense to some degree. He's talking about how Americans should be able to be free to make choices, that they're adults, and they should be able to choose what is best for their own personal health. That's something I've talked about, and I can understand what Kirk Cameron is saying there. At the same time, of course, people are bringing up, what about the dangers? And are these events that he is holding super spreader events? I think that would be the fear and the concern that some people are expressing. What I've also said, though, is that people like Pastor John MacArthur, who have made the choice to continue to hold indoor services in the Los Angeles area in spite of the pandemic and the government regulations, situations like that really become a test case for this whole COVID-19 situation. And it's interesting to look at Grace Community Church, and I've talked about how there are some in the media saying that Grace Community Church is posing a threat, and they're trying to say that there has been outbreak there. But at the same time, if you really look at what's going on at Grace Community Church, there's no real clear evidence that what they're doing is really posing any significant or unique danger to the greater public, although that is certainly what is being claimed about Grace Community Church as well as events like this. But again, Kirk Cameron has a very different view. He's emphasizing personal freedom, personal choice, and personal responsibility, and that we can make good decisions for ourselves. I'd like to hear what you think. I have a feeling, I know a lot of you would agree with what Kirk Cameron is saying here, but I know some of you disagree. And I'm just encouraging discussion about all of this, but also bringing situations like this to your attention because it is really interesting, fascinating, but also important for our national dialogue. Thank you so much for listening to this report, though, and some of what I have to say brought to you from A Frisch Perspective.